Question number 5, Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Mr Speaker, my question is to the Minister of State-Owned Enterprises and asks, does he stand by all the statements he, his predecessor and other ministerial colleagues have made regarding the state-owned enterprises portfolio?
Honourable Tony Ryall.
Mr Speaker, yes, within the context though they were made, though, I suspect in the next 30 seconds I may want to change my mind. I can vouch for most of my predecessors, though I probably couldn't vouch for Mr Mallard when he said it will be up to SOEs to come up with robust business plans that they can preferably be funded off their own balance sheets.
Supplementary question, Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
If the intent of the 2009 letter to Solid Energy penned by his predecessor in respect of increasing gearing and dividends was not to encourage borrowing by Solid Energy at increased levels or a demand for increased dividends, why was it sent? What was its purpose?
Mr Speaker, letters were sent to all SOEs in 2009, including Solid Energy. They are one of the SOEs.
Order.
To make it clear that the government did expect better performance.
Point of order.
Mr Speaker, my question was about the letter sent directly to Solid Energy, not letters sent to a variety of SOEs, the letter that was sent, which the Minister has to Solid Energy directly.
I appreciate that, and the Minister was answering the question with the... order.
The government wrote to Solid Energy, as it did to every other state-owned enterprise, seeking to have improved levels of performance and contribution to the economy. It is up to the board. Members opposite seem to think that the debt is the problem for Solid Energy. I've said so many times today, it is not the cause of Solid Energy's problem. It is the board's responsibility to manage the structure of the balance sheet. The purpose of the Minister's letter was to say, just as Mr Mallard wrote to them a year earlier, we expect better performance in dividends.
Supplementary question, Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Is he aware of the Treasury proposal document of 2009, the recommendations of which his government signed off, whose purpose was to increase the gearing of Solid Energy and whose purpose was, to quote the document, designed to, quote, stretch, unquote, the SOE? If so, has that stretch been successful, or has in reality that stretch perpetrated the almost total breakdown of that company at his government's hands?
Honourable Tony Ryall.
No, as I've said earlier on, it is not the debt that is the cause of Solid Energy's problems. It's the fact that a number of investments were made that have not generated the level of return to sustain those investments or their continuing, coupled with the collapse in world coal prices. With respect to the Treasury advice, it wouldn't surprise me because Mr Mallard in 2008 told the company he was not comfortable with their dividend.
Point of order. The document and advice that I referred to was not from one Trevor Mallard. It was the 2009 advice, which talks about stretching the SOE.
Order. But if you think about the member's question, it started with, is he aware of the Treasury document? The Minister was just going on to talk about what was in that Treasury document. If the member's satisfied with the answer, we'll move to the next supplementary. Supplementary question, Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Is the former chairman of Solid Energy, John Palmer, correct when he told the Select Committee clearly today that, contrary to the Prime Minister's claim that Solid Energy had asked for a $1 billion capital injection and the Prime Minister had refused that $1 billion capital injection, that Mr Palmer confirmed that no $1 billion capital injection request was ever made, no figures were mentioned?
Honourable Tony Ryall.
Mr Speaker, I would have to accept what the Prime Minister and Mr Palmer said because I don't think they're necessarily divergent. What I can tell you is I do know that the Prime Minister received advice on the financial implications of what was being discussed with Solid Energy. I've got to remind the member again that the company's problems come from the investments that were made and the lack of return, the collapse of coal prices.
Supplementary question, Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Is he aware that former Chairman of Solid Energy John Palmer confirmed to the Select Committee today that no action, none, was taken by any minister in this government since 2009 to require a change in direction, in business direction? No request was made to change business direction, or to reduce expansion, I should say. And the only action that one can find on the record was 18 months of discussions with the company, which generated in zero action by this government as they were asleep at the wheel.
Honourable Tony.
Mr. Speaker, I'm advised by comments made by colleagues on this side of the House that that is not a fair representation of what Mr. Palmer said, and therefore.
Point of order, Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Nick Smith was not on the Select Committee. Other ministers were not at the Select Committee. Yet again, this minister makes it up.
Order, but that's very much now debatable. I wasn't at the Select. Order. The minister is attempting to answer the question, and I'd like to hear the answer to the question. Point of order, Honourable Clayton.
The minister has questioned my word, one that is out of order. Secondly, he has said that from comments around him, he is advised I'm incorrect.
Order. Frequently, ministers disagree with words that are quoted by an opposition member. That happens quite frequently in this House. Is it a fresh point of order? I'll take a fresh point of order. But if the member is continuing a repeat of the same point of order, then no, I am ruled that the question was being answered. I'll give the minister the opportunity to further answer the question if the member so wants, but if he doesn't want a further answer, he doesn't have to have one.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Is it a fresh point of order?
Yes, it is, sir.
Okay. Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
With respect, I'm not challenging your ruling at all.
Would the member just come to the fresh point of order?
Okay, certainly, sir. You stated that that is a precedent in this House that members say the member is incorrect, and you're absolutely right. That minister did not say that. He challenged my word and relied on others who were not at a meeting.
We are now relitigating what I've already ruled on. Now I'm giving the member the opportunity, the minister the opportunity to complete the answer which was interrupted if the member so wants. If the member doesn't, then we'll move to further supplementaries or to the next question. Question number 6. Does the minister want to further elaborate on the answer that the minister had given?
Mr. Speaker, the government's made it very clear, and this is my view, this is certainly my view, is that following the scoping study in 2011, this government took action to deal with the issues that were raised in Solid Energy's scoping study. What that scoping study identified a number of issues that made that company vulnerable, including investments in a number of areas that were not generating the rate of return, very high head office costs.
Don't continue to ask me what I did. Thank you.
Vulnerability around the projections for coal prices. And together with the collapse in coal prices during 2012, the company finds itself in this difficult position.
Question number 6, Barbara.